Hey guys, welcome to the Canada Puck Podcast, your weekly recap of what's going on in the world of sports, specifically hockey, and even more specifically in Canada. I'm your co-host, Mick. You can find me on Twitter, if it still exists, at Profit Mick, and I'm joined every episode by my lovely and talented co-host. Boom.
Fuck.
I think we have the same pens. That's pretty exciting.
My name's Grant. I'm on Twitter at Fourth Line Sports. You know, that's a sad reality I didn't even think of. Will Twitter still exist? Big part of me hopes that it turns into, like, just the dark web, I guess. Maybe that's my goal for Twitter. Now that Elon Musk has fired everybody and the other half of the staff is leaving on their own volition. Dark web Twitter, I could see that being a thing. You know when, like, this is the end, at the end of the movie of This Is It, the End, where it gets super dark with Danny McBride and that handsome fella? That's what I hope Twitter turns into. That's my dream.
All right. Grant's a sick mother. Cool. Yeah, so if you're new to the podcast, we're going to do a shorter one today, guys. 30 headlines. We're going to go look around the league, kind of make fun of how crappy Canadian teams are. We're going to give you some fantasy advice, some gambling advice, and we're looking at some boobs, probably. So, sounds like a fun little afternoon. I'm noticing the lighting isn't great. I got a new monitor, and my other monitor obviously was brighter, so maybe I need to get some, like, better lighting down here, but what's going on in my life?
Fancy selfie cameras. They come in all sorts of fancy selfie lights, whatever they are. They come in squares, ovals, circles, whatever you want. The world's your oyster. I bet you know what? Maybe that's a Christmas present idea. I'm going to get you a big schlong-shaped one.
Nice.
So there's just like a silhouette of a penis on your face.
That's solid. Yeah, no, I'm like moving up in the world, Grant. I might have 2 monitors soon. I'm going to see if I can get a cable and attach my other one and rearrange my desk.
Damn.
Hot damn. You know who's not hot damn? Kind of sucks. Although they've won a couple games, so like maybe not horrendous. The Ottawa Senators. They are 29th. So if you look at the bottom of the standings, I got the bottom 5 teams up on the screen. Ottawa Senators are chilling there at 29th. 6 wins through 16 games. Sucks.
Feather in Mick's cap, though, for calling the slow start. How long do you think it is before they shake out of it? And do you think a coaching change is necessary?
I really don't know. Based on this young core, I don't know. Like, what are the expectations for this team? If it's me, I'm saying just let it ride, right? See what these kids can do. Can they bring themselves out of it? Because you don't want to set them in that situation where all of a sudden they don't have to work hard, right? You set the standards for the organization to say, if things don't go your way, poor little Tim Strutzel, let's stroke your head. It's going to be okay. We'll take care of things for you, right? Like, no, go on the ice and you guys figure it out. You sort things out, right? So I think that's not a horrendous way. I don't think there's that much pressure in Ottawa to win, right?
Not till Deadpool owns the team. I do think I have recognized a pattern with young teams, and that is inevitably the coaching just fizzles, and it takes that new voice. Like, going back to the Oilers. Oilers is a crystal clear example. Even the Flames, like, teams that just had great young pieces. The coaching just kind of, you got to the pinnacle with the previous coach, and then it was like it just fizzled, and it was time for somebody else. So DJ Smith, I say, probably closes out the season, gets close to the end of the season, but if this is the standard, he will be looking for a job before the end of the regular season.
That's fair. All right. Poor little Ottawa. It's Vancouver, 26 overall. Wow, we had to move up 2 whole spots. Good job. They have 15 points compared to pathetic Ottawa with their 13 points. So sad.
Bunch of dicks. Talking about coaches on the hot seat all of a sudden. Bruce Boudreau out of nowhere. Talking about his tenure ending in Vancouver already. Is the heat deserved? I don't think so. I think that this is inevitably metrics catching up with itself. The universe balancing itself out, whatever you want to say. But Vancouver's not as bad as we've seen, and I do think that they are progression candidates.
Solid. Yeah, they're tough, right? It's just been a bad couple of years in Vancouver. They looked like the Pettersson picks, the Hughes picks were going to be something. They got them on pretty good deals, and they just had like some miserable off seasons, right? And it's just goes to show how finicky sports are. it just takes like one bad signing and it can set you back a couple years, right? Like you almost have to hit on everything. So as a general manager, you have to be very, very, very diligent at your job. And I think that's what you're seeing with Vancouver was we can go back 3 years, 4 years, whatever year they signed Furlander. Michael Furlander, was that his name? And like Antoine Roussel, whatever that off season was. I don't know. Like Vancouver literally just has not recovered from a couple bad signings, right? Like unforced errors, essentially, by the general manager. So
you're making the case that JT Miller should have been traded last season or last off season instead of re-signed.
I think they still can. From what I've heard, based on the fact that he has a decent contract in term now, in theory, it's not like it's an appreciating asset. It's people now look at that and they want the term, right? They want the lower potential cap hit or something like that versus bringing in a free agent. You might actually be able to get more for him.
Yeah, maybe that's the case. But again, I don't know. For me personally, I think it would be a little premature to press the panic button. I know we hammered on that last week, and I guess maybe the absence of panic button hammering, I think that's stay the course with Vancouver for the next couple weeks, if not months.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Let's see. Chicago, Minnesota. Oh, Calgary at 23. The Flames still suck, eh?
The Flames still suck. Shamefully, they play about 20 blocks from my house, and I still don't know what the hell's going on in Flames land right now. Do you have an opinion, finger on the pulse?
No. Something went sideways after that hot little start that they've had and on the skid that they've been going on in the last like 10 games where they've just been losing. I don't know. Something needs to change. They're similar to... I mean, there's obviously a greater sense of urgency than the Ottawa, the Vancouvers. Like we were saying, kind of let them stay the course. Let's see if the guys can figure it out. But like almost in Calgary, we have to do something. Like Grant, 21 blocks away, so I have less of a pulse on it. But I really don't know. I think we're gonna see. Did Trill Living kind of shoot himself in the foot?
And I think so. What I'm recognizing in the betting market with this team, even last night against Tampa, was it last night or the night before? Anyways, they were playing Tampa, and Tampa was short minus 130 favorites. I was like this, and I get Tampa's not off to a great start either, but Flames on the road, other time zone, basically other opposite end of the continent, and they're like plus 110 underdogs. Didn't make sense to me. Mm-hmm. So I think that if we're inferring from the betting market, people are probably expecting Calgary to break out of this 2 wins over the last 10-game slump. But again, I haven't been paying close enough attention to figure out when it might be. I know they got Florida today. Maybe they shake out of it against like classic rivalry, beat up to Kachuk.
Yeah, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but as I was kind of hammering through my FanDuel lineup, I mean, just now. Well, let's be honest. Just now on my phone, I was like feverishly looking for like the Elias Lindholms and the Hubertos. So like, if there is a game to get out of the slump, it's kick Matthew Tkachuk's ass today, and like let's start like get some momentum. It's an afternoon game. There's going to be lots of eyes on you, but alas, we don't play afternoon games on our FanDuel, so no Flames. Oh, and do you get my get up? I'm washed up.
Wow.
All right, cool. Let's keep rolling. At 20th, we get the Montreal Canadiens, the team that's rebuilding, but rebuilding in such a way that we're all like, oh, are they really good? Is Kirby Dach, was he the steal of the offseason?
Yeah, I don't think anybody had pictured this team having 8 wins before January. Here they are, 500, 2 months into the 6 weeks into the season. I don't know. Martin St-Louis is working his magic. Young skilled forwards are pulling their weight. Mm-hmm. Goaltending is just fucking god awful. If they had like an iota of goaltending, this team would probably be like they might have like 12 wins.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're playing well. That core of the Caulfields, the Suzukis, the Dachs, looking like they're upper tier. They're kind of at that, getting close to being kind of, I'm going to use the F word with them maybe. And they can like be frisky and stay in some games. And that was kind of where we were at, was it last year or 2 years ago with the Senators? So I would say whenever we kind of started falling in love with the Strutzels and the Kachuk with the Senators, whether that was a season ago, like they're getting there for me. This trio that they got, right? So,
again, back concerns on the back end. Like if Carey Price was playing, oh my god, it would take physical effort for me to stay in Calgary and not fly to Montreal to watch some of those games because.
I'm going to change my opinion. I think last week I said they have some good pieces, and on like a EA Sports GM mode or something like that, like if I was playing NHL 2023 or whatever we're at now, I don't know if I'd pick the Canadians. These guys seem like they have, I don't know, some pizzazz. I'd almost want to pick them, and then you could build that team around them. Like there's a lot of work to do, but at least they have that like little bit of a foundation going, right? So.
Maybe that's what we should do next year for the podcast. We each choose a franchise in NHL 23, and we don't get to play anything. We just act as general managers, and we see who has the best outcomes. Conceivably, we could end up with the same players on our squad, just via trade, but I think it would be a fun simulation.
Whoa, hold it. Easy there, Boomer. We can play online. We can play an online GM mode together. So we could dedicate time. I can we can get that, and we can actually record that, and that could be a channel of us actually playing through and just like, we'll sim, I don't know, a couple weeks at a time or something like that. If we did it every 2 weeks, you just like sim 2 weeks of a season.
My feelings are still hurt from the Boomer, but I'm really excited about this idea.
Okay, all right.
I had no idea this world existed. Maybe I'll ask Santa for NHL 23.
Now, me also saying that, if you've listened to any of our shows on YouTube, up until last week's show, I had my crappy mic for my camera recording instead of like my actual like good mic. So the audio was just absolutely horrendous until a week ago, and I couldn't figure out how to change the settings. So from one Boomer to another, let's keep on. Let's see if we roll up to 16th. There we go, halfway point. That's good. We get some quality teams. We get the Edmonton Oilers.
Might be a bit of a stretch with quality. Still, one game above 500, some concerning metrics. Defensively, they're okay. But goaltending has just been like, we're talking about Stuart Skinner, who is now the basically starting goalie for the Edmonton Oilers after the splurge on Jack Campbell this offseason. I don't know where that leaves Ken Holland. I think the Evander Kane injury made a huge difference for them in their top six.
Yeah.
But they also don't have the capacity to go out and make a trade right now because they're so close to the cap that if Kane has this miraculous comeback, comes back a little bit early in February, you can't replace his value on the team right now. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what the solution is. Do you ship out a couple young guys like you talk about Yamamoto, Puljujarvi on those like 1 year, $3 million contracts? Do you ship both of them out for like a top six forward? I don't know.
What a miserable set of circumstances, the Kane injury and just Campbell's play, because we were going in being like, this might be the best roster McDavid's ever played with. We were excited. We thought all the moves worked. And then you just get derailed, right? Like one guy just doesn't get it going. You get like a fluke injury, right? Like who else gets stepped on? Or cut by a skate? When was the last time that happened? Like, you know what I mean? Like that's... Oh, it's probably Taylor Hall. There you go. It's like, it's just one of those things where it's just stupid and fluke, and it upsets you because now you're like scrambling, and you're like, we should be having fun. I think the Oilers probably stay in like playoff contention. I don't know if you need to panic, right? Like I don't think they need to be a top 3 team, right? Regular season for them to make damage. It's be healthy in the postseason and see if McDavid gets pissed off and goes supernova for 3 weeks. That's how you win a Stanley Cup in Edmonton, right? So.
Imagine being that hated in the locker room that a teammate steps on your head in warm-ups.
Poor pretty boy. But now I look like Frankenstein.
Frankenhall, oh my god.
Frankenhall. All right. Poor. Yeah, I don't... Jack Campbell, come on, figure your stuff out. Again, go learn some karate. There's a lot of like tough, probably back alleys in Edmonton. You don't have to pay for it. You can just go and get tough.
Literally, if you just walked outside the arena, you toughen up in a hurry.
There you go. All right, so we got Florida. Now, like, the next couple teams. We have the Oilers in the standings. We get the Panthers. We get the Avalanche. We get the Rangers. Like, those are really 4 really good teams. So again, let's not panic just yet. The Seattle Kraken finally fell out of the top 10. Oh, that's weird. Tampa Bay at 10. All right. Winnipeg at number 9. Winnipeg Jets. I think that's probably where they were last year, or last week. So they're staying consistent.
Holding steady. Another the team that I haven't really been paying super close attention to. I think we talked about it at in our preseason show where Connor Hellebuck was one of those guys who potentially could be, bounce back candidate, and I think he's kind of played up to those expectations early on. But the team deserves some credit for operating efficiently offensively, because that's, I think, been the difference, is that they're finding ways to score goals, which last year they just didn't have. They didn't have that friskiness or that truculence that we value so much on the Canada Puck podcast, where they weren't getting things done, and for whatever reason, change in coach has made a difference for them. So
yeah, and they just seem. I'm the same way. In theory, I like the Winnipeg Jets, but they're missing something. I kind of feel like the charisma of this squad just isn't there. Unlike the other squads that we've kind of alluded to with the Ottawa, right? We kind of like that core. The Canadians core are kind of getting there. They seem like they kind of have a little bit of star power, and then you get to Winnipeg, and I'm just it seems like a boring city. It's kind of I don't know. I'm kind of done with their current uniforms. I don't know, maybe they need a little bit of pizzazz, a little bit of a flash up, and their players just seem really, really boring.
Maybe that's what they needed, because I think that's the Boness effect. Even comparatively,
I guess.
If you look at the Dallas Stars last year, boring team, nobody cared about it. Have you seen them under Peter DeBoer?
Yeah,
the team's great.
Yeah, that's a great example. I was thinking them are the Predators, one of those squads where I'm I don't I have free time in my life, but not that much free time that I'm gonna do a deep dive and look at the Natural Predators cap friendly page. I'll never do it. I'm sounds awful. Sounds like an exhausting experience. But we've seen over the years, time and time again, they get results. So maybe that's just what you need to be, is boring old Winnipeg. And I'll get asleep.
8-1-1 in their last 10. That's crazy.
Yeah, go fucking Winnipeg. I think that's the last guy. If we scroll up to the top, I'll just show all the teams. The Toronto Maple Leafs at 8th overall. They climbed. At one point, I think we did the show and they were in the basement. Sky was falling. Dubas was getting fired. Mitch Marner. They were just going to pay him to stay home. Hey, they figured it out. Weird.
Goaltending, for some reason, so maybe this isn't a great example because they are coming off that OT loss for the Devils, but yeah. Matt Murray came back. He beat his old squad, then he put up a fight against the Devils the next night. 2 nights later, I think it was a Tuesday-Thursday split. But anyways, that is unexpected, I will say.
You were asking me, when does Kyle Dubas get fired last week? Because of, or maybe it was a week ago, and you were saying, because of this goalie debacle. He let Jack Campbell walk out the door, and he signed these 2 has-beens for less money. He spent less money on these 2 other guys, and now we're both wait, did he get guys of equal quality of Jack Campbell for cheaper? What the hell did Kyle Dubas do?
It's this, players are a function of their system. That's amplified by goaltenders. I don't think Matt Murray is the goalie that we've seen over the last 2 games. I think it's a great stretch, and I think that he'll probably ride it out a little longer. But we're not talking about a Matt Murray who has a 92 save percentage in the NHL. And maybe he'll make me eat my words. Maybe we could put this on repeat at the end of the year, and you can tell me, laugh at how stupid I sounded. But I don't know. Lightning in a bottle right now.
Lightning in a bottle. They're a good squad. We can go several deep, 7 players, 8 players that are top elite-ish players, good young squad. They're built well. Goaltending's their Achilles heel, and it's going to be what it is, right? I think they'll be kind of bouncing around that top 10. They'll probably end up in a second, third, probably a bad first round matchup again, and everyone will be if only they had 2 more points, they could have been first and played the Seattle Kraken, because for some reason they're the wild card in the East this year. It'll be one of those scenarios, but I think it's kind of is what it is. And losing to New Jersey at this point is not something to get upset about. The New Jersey Devils were just I think it's going to come down. I think we will see a sharp decline at some point against the Devils. But right now they're playing well, right? Like,
Yep, shake it if you got it.
there you go.
And the Devils got it. So
There you go. All right, so now you're all caught up. The week that was. Let's look at the week that's going to be. We're going to start with FanDuel. Go check out that lovely website. And see how we're doing. Grant, how did you do last week?
let's see here. I finished with 103.1 points. Finished 463rd out of 952. My $1 turned into $0.
Solid. I got about half. So the other 50-person $1 pool I was in, I got 32nd. So I think I alluded to that it was almost my worst week ever. That might have been my worst week ever. 96.5 points. Bunk. Sucked. Elias Lindholm. That was my only saving grace, my good call. I told everyone, like, hammer this at $5,000. That guy it can go off for a goal and assist 2-point night easily, right? I kind of had that kind of queued up, but other than that, I hit nothing. Jack Eichel let me down. I'll never trust him ever again. So you're dead to me.
I fucked up by including Igor Shesterkin. I didn't look at this closer. I hate FanDuel's like probable goalies. Like, they're wrong half the time. You get paid to do this. I don't get paid to do this, but maybe I actually have the wherewithal to not rely on them. Shesterkin didn't play, 0 points. That was the difference. If I would have had any goalie who would have had 16 points, I would have had money.
So I'm looking at that too. I see Shesterkin on the Score app, and he is expected. He's expected against the Sharks tonight. Shesterkin's like $7,200 right now on FanDuel because they look like they think Halak's playing.
I don't know if I trust the Score either. I don't think the Score is on top of shit either. So I don't know. Goaltending, I think that's the biggest X factor for me. I'm gonna have to pay closer attention to it because, it's just not working. 0 points. I mean, I wasn't expecting that to be the difference between me and $60, but
yeah.
It could have kept the bankroll flowing.
Is that right, or was I just like dreaming when I saw that Shesterkin was so much cheaper than everything else? Where the heck's Shesterkin? Is he cheaper than I thought? Why don't you... Oh, 8,600. Okay, never mind. Never mind. Why don't... Who do you got today?
All right, I'll lead off. So I was talking about how the Winnipeg Jets were having some luck scoring. Pittsburgh hasn't been great at preventing goals. They're on the road, Winnipeg at home. It feels like it's a good spot to back Winnipeg to keep the good times rolling. I don't know if they win, but I expect a good offensive outburst, hopefully, coming from Mark Scheifele. Only $7,000 kind of surprised me a little bit, so I had to include him. That smirk makes me think that I have to take him out now because every time we have the same person, it just ends terribly.
Yep, it sure does.
A little bit of a Oilers stack. I went McDavid, Hopkins. I talked about Hopkins earlier in the year. Oh, great. Do you have both those guys too, Mick? Anyways, talking about Hopkins earlier in the year, I think that he looks good. I like what he brings with McDavid. Home against the Knights feels like it's a spot where the Oilers just have to show up. Other winger, Capo Caco, $4,600. Sharks have been abysmal. I don't care where they play. They have a very loose defensive standard. Caco gets power play time. Could be a good showing for him. Defensively, I kind of went like, this is like a prime 2015 lineup, or maybe 2017 lineup. Justin Braun, Brady Shea, I know it's Skajay. Anyways, Brady Shea, Justin Braun, $4,900, $3,700 respectively. Utility spots. Couture was only $6,000, and I like what the Sharks bring, even as bad as they are defensively. I think that they have something to offer offensively, and it comes from Couture. Big rig, $3,600. I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel here.
Solid.
$3,600 left. Big rig. Tampa Bay at Nashville. I don't know. I just need him to muck things up a little bit. And closing off with anti-Ranta between the pipes.
So don't take our advice this week. Fade us 100% because our lineups sound damn similar. I got up front David Krejci with Boston playing Chicago tonight. $4,800. It's not terrible pairing him with Draisaitl. Those are my two centers I have. I went with Jaden Schwartz. I did have Taylor Hall, but I made fun of him for being Frankenhall, and I just don't like that I mentioned him. So I went with Jaden Schwartz, Seattle, top line against the Knights, or sorry, the Kings tonight. Kings don't stop anything. And Blake Wheeler. I like Winnipeg against Pittsburgh tonight. I think that we're going to see some outputs. So at $5,600 and $5,700 respectively. On defense, I also like Brady Skay. And I went with Rasmus Sandin, $3,800. He can pop a goal. He's not playing great, but I think against Buffalo, maybe that's one of those, maybe he figures it out, levels it out, passes to someone, passes to Mitch Marner. Mitch Marner does something with the puck, right? Kirby Dach, my man, my new favorite player of all time. $5,800 playing against the Flyers. I think we're going to see some scoring there. I also have Mark Scheifele. That was my other utility spot, $7,000. And I went with Andre Vasilevsky at $7,200 against the Preds tonight. He's pretty good. Like, well, might as well, $7,200. He's a lot cheaper than the other goalies, so.
I was looking at that one too. It felt like a little bit of a trap to me. I was like, why is Vasilevsky only $7,200?
I was scrolling through because I wanted to save some money. I was like, I don't want to pay $8,000 for a goalie. And as I was scrolling through, I saw Vasilevsky, and I was like, so he's obviously not playing. Like, that's what I'm guessing is happening. I can make those modifications. I guess I'll check closer to. But I'm like, that works. So there's my fun lineup. So sorry, Pittsburgh, or congratulations, Pittsburgh, on your shutout tonight.
Yeah, big showing from Tristan Jarry. Maybe that's the fucking message that we should take from this. When Vasilevsky's not starting, you go put Tristan Jarry in your lineup.
What would a Tristan Jarry cost you? Just so we can know, because now I'm curious. I don't see him yet. There's got to be a better way of doing this. I'm obviously doing this like the boomer way. Oh, look at that. You could do that. Yeah, 7,100. So
that even entices me a little bit. I might do some swapping out later here.
Cool. Awesome. So that's our official FanDuel lineup.
Yep.
But also,
until we get drunk and tweak with things.
And like, it probably is going to fail. So save that bad boy and move on to some gambling. Grant, how did you do with gambling last week?
Let me look at my peach paper here. It was an okay week for me. 2 for 3. Calgary hit his home favorites against the Jets. Pittsburgh, Montreal went to overtime, but New Jersey, Arizona did not. I ended up with 150-52, and that brings my season-long total up to, where did I scrape this down? 436.95 is what I got in my pocket this year.
Nice.
How'd you do?
I only hit the one. I think I had a bunch of underdogs. The only guys that covered for me was Montreal. So everything else I failed miserably on. Lost a little bit of money. I'm down to 164 on the year. But I'll make some money back tonight. I got 3 picks.
I got 3 picks too.
Cool. With a fourth amendum. Let's go with... I mentioned it. Montreal is playing the Flyers? Let me just clarify. Are they in Montreal? They are in Montreal against the Flyers. I think we're going over. Over 6.5 goals is the 2.05. It's not horrendous. I'm going to put $33 on the over in that game.
Damn. I'm going to go another direction in an Atlantic Conference or Atlantic Division game. Buffalo at Toronto. I passively alluded to Matt Murray probably not being as good as he is. And the Buffalo Sabres offense has actually been good. I'm not saying that they're good enough to beat the Leafs, but I think they're good enough to get it to overtime, and at plus 360, I'm betting that happens. $30 to win 108.
I'm going to do you one better. I think the Sabres, I mean, I also just emotionally hedge. That's just all I do now. That's my whole life. I'm going to go with the Sabres straight up winning this game. I think this is one of those, like, we need to press a panic button somewhere. And the Leafs, I realize we just talked about them being 8th overall in points in the league and playing pretty well and competent, but they're going to lose to the Sabres tonight. I'm going to smash that button tomorrow, and I'm just going to walk around the park sad tomorrow. So at 3.25, I'm going to put $35 on that one.
Sadder than usual?
Sadder than usual, yes.
Oh, man.
I'm going to write a self-help book. I don't know what it's about, but I know what the title is. I'm going to get a picture of a schlubby-looking guy standing, looking at a box in a kitchen, and it's going to be called, So, You've Decided to Bake Brownies.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the bottom. That's as low as it gets.
Yeah.
You don't sink lower than that.
No, you're like, oh, like bored on a Thursday night, but like, I guess I could make some brownies.
Oh, right. Well, the emotional hedging didn't pay off 2 weeks ago. There's a possibility that exists where we both win money, but we've tempted the universe so much that I think the Leafs now win probably 8-0. But that's neither here nor there because we're on to the Detroit Red Wings at Columbus Blue Jackets. I don't think both teams have offensive players, but nobody's like super keen on playing offense. So I think this one just inevitably gets sorted out in overtime. Plus $330, $30 to win 99.
Solid. I like that strategy. And because I'm a nice guy, I'm going to emotionally hedge for you. I saw Vegas on the Score app, and it was listing the Oilers as favorites. And I said, cool, I can get underdog nights on the road. Obviously, something changed at 1.87. I'm going to take the Vegas night beating the Edmonton Oilers a little bit later on this evening. $33 on that bad boy. So not yielding a high return this week, but I'm hoping I can hit two of the three, maybe 3 out of 3. Keep that bankroll rolling, stay in the positives, and there we go. So what happens when you parlay all those together, Grant?
Well, I have one more overtime pick, and that is Tampa Bay at Nashville at plus 320. $30 to win 96. And when you parlay them all together, $10 would yield $820.76. I wasn't super. Nashville's been playing good. I've been paying attention to them, and I think they're in a bit of a homestand here. But again, I don't think the Bolts are as bad as we've seen them. So, to me, again, one of those. Tampa Bay's not going to give up much on the road. Nashville's not going to play for much. I don't know. Feels like an overtime game.
Cool.
But, yeah, plus 820. So 820.76. Sorry, all of them together. Can't remember if I said that.
Yeah, I think I knew that. Cool. Yeah. No. Great. So there you go. There's our advice. We haven't seen some overtimes for a while, so hopefully Grant is got his feelers out. He's got that pulse. It's coming. If you're out there in the world, bet some overtimes. Make you happy.
I think it's one of those nights, but we'll see.
Sweet.
But we've run through headlines. We run through My Dirty Fantasy. We just got through Bettor Advice, and the Canada Puck Podcast would not be the Canada Puck Podcast without our Babe of the Week. So, stumbled down the King's Ice Crew rabbit hole last week, and ended up on Taylor Larison. It is Taylor, as you would expect, Taylor, Larison. Allegedly part of the King's crew. You got to filter through and you see some of the stuff, but I saw it in another post. I don't see it so explicitly here. You get down to the middle, like August 14th, 2015, there's something in a King's uniform. Anyways, all of that's to say, I believe Taylor Larison is part of the LA Kings Ice Crew, and deservingly so, because she is our Babe of the Week, shall we?
She is a little bit of a babe, eh? Good for you, Taylor Larison. Huh. Nice. Sweet. There you go. That's how you do a podcast double time. Boom, baby! That's
it. Sweet. Worth the price of admission this week. Condensed, short, sweet. We got through it all.
Sweet. Yeah, that's good.
Excited to do it. Actually, you know what? We might have to take next week off. I got drunk and booked plane tickets I forgot to tell Mick about, so.
Cool. All right, that's fun. Pause next week. Go from there. See you guys, I guess, in 2 weeks then, officially, and it'll be December. That's scary.
That is scary. Our next podcast is probably going to be December 3rd now. Crazy. Cool.
And then we're like 2 weeks away from having to do like a Christmas special where we just do something. I don't know.
Get drunk and talk about sports. It's a special type of day, you know what I mean?
What if we could like set up a way to play like ice hockey or something like that on like an emulator, like a shared emulator together?
I'm not opposed to that.
Cool. All right. Sweet. So that's, I think we're done. All we have to say is party on, Grant.
Party on, Mick. We'll see everybody next week.
Bye.